Get 'em.
Welcome, folks. Y'all come on in and make yourself at home. This here, well, this is the Rolling Thunder Podcast, your home for all things Rolling Thunder. This episode is brought to you by Mossy Oak, because everything is better in Bottomland. Kent Cartridge, quality matters, performance counts. Shen Gear, waterfowl gear that is built better. And Benelli USA, dominate the skies.
Alrighty, welcome to this episode of the Rolling Thunder Podcast. I am joined here on the phone with boss man himself, Mr. Spencer Halford. Spence, how are you doing today?
Good. How about you, Chris?
Man, I am doing all right. And we've got another special guest, kind of the feature of our episode today, Mr. Lanier Bonner. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Chris. How are you?
Man, we're making it one day at a time. So We're just kind of touching base. We have a feature film coming out featuring you, Mr. Lanier. Why don't you kind of give us a quick rundown of maybe who you are in case somebody hasn't had the chance to meet you, and we can kind of go from there.
So I started 8 or 9 years ago doing leather work kind of as a hobby. It grew and grew. Then me and Spence ran into each other, got in touch, and for the last almost year, I've been heading up all the leather work here at Rolling Thunder.
Maybe the first thing we should cover is, Lanier, what are the acceptable and wide range of pronunciations of your name around here?
Lanier, Lenore. Lenore is probably the most popular.
Yeah, I thought that was your name for a long time.
Yeah, you aren't the only person.
Yeah, one of our running pet peeves around here is, I don't know, was it Drake or I don't know who it was. Somebody started calling him Lanier. Aaron started calling him Lenore, and it just stuck, and it annoys the crap out of me.
And actually, Little Trip thought that was my name.
A lot of people
for forever. And I forget who called me Lanier, and he said, "Hold on, what's your name?"
Yeah, somebody called you Lanny the other day, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, come on, guys!
Yeah.
Like we got to all get on the same page here."
And I mean, your last name.
One of the things you're going to see in this film, Gert did a good job. It's self-titled. Lanier Bonner is the name of the film, so real original and real obvious foreshadowing of the content, you know. But one of the things you're going to hear about that I thought was hilarious, and I did not know until we filmed this interview, but Lanier applied for a customer service position last summer and came in and met with us, and we were doing some group interviews at the time. So I had Drake and Mark and Frawley and who else? Was it just those three?
No. What's his name? They did the media.
RT?
No. It's Shin now.
Oh, Jason. Yeah, Jason King was there. That's right. And we all interviewed Lanier, and like we were calling it a customer service position, but kind of, to be honest, what we were looking for was somebody that could just help make sure all the orders get shipped every day and keep things straight in the computer system, and largely administrative position. I mean, Lanier clearly didn't fit the bill. He didn't have any customer service experience, and he knew a little bit about Shopify, but not much. And so it was like we were all sitting there in this interview. It's 4 dudes and Lanier, and we're kind of like, all right, well, tell us what you've done. And it's like, well, I've answered Instagram messages and made people lanyards. He had this little portfolio cover that he had made with a really slick notebook, and he did a green leaf inlay in it. And I mean, it wasn't 5 minutes into the meeting, I was like, dang, that is sharp. Where'd you get that? And come to find out, Lanier had ulterior motives, and
I made it the day before I came in here.
So anyways, that started a long discussion. He walked out of the conference room at that point, and everybody was like, dang, man, we could find a lot of people to ship duck calls out, but it'd be pretty dang cool to have our own lanyards and our own duck straps and our own, all these different accessories. And I don't know, it was a couple months before we got everything nailed down, but I thought that was hilarious that Lanier had ulterior motives and was 2 steps out ahead of me.
What's really funny is that room we met in is now
the studio. Yeah. So we immediately took the conference room and pilfered it and turned it into leather studio. Yeah.
Now, do you still have that green leaf portfolio cover?
Oh yeah, I like it. I still use it every day.
I think it's really cool. One of the things that is not going to get said exactly in the film, but that really has always mattered to me, Chris, is that we've always really tried hard to be authentic and transparent about what we do, and so one of the reasons that we don't make crane calls is because nobody around here is a crane hunting expert. And the same could be true for elk calls. And, we've tried really hard to make sure that whatever products we sell, somebody is kind of a local guru or a local, passionate about it and an expert. And so obviously we have several people that fit into that category when it comes to duck calls and other waterfowl calls. And then we have, with respect to turkey calls, I mean, we got arguably, one of the greatest call builders of all time in Josh, Grossenbacher. And so I could have picked up the telephone and called one of several places overseas or in South America and gotten some stuff designed, some leather stuff designed as a private label line. But I think one of the coolest things about Lanier being on board here is that we're truly not only developing and doing R&D on new products, but then we're actually manufacturing them. And so, I mean, any given day, Lanier's got 6 people in there. He's got, he and Aaron are kind of full-time building stuff, but then in the afternoons, there's 3 high school kids, between 10th grade and one of them's a senior this year. I mean, they come in and they help punch holes and they help cut straps, and I mean, they just help in the process. And so, I mean, it's truly everything that we're selling is handmade, one at a time, just like our duck calls are being tuned one at a time. I mean, it's a very, very similar synergistic process.
I remember you saying it. I guess we were at Birmingham down at that expo, and you were pointing out, you were showing somebody lanyards, and you're like, man, look through them, because you can tell that they're made by hand. These aren't coming off an assembly line, but you can see somebody's taking the time to make these. I think that's a really cool thing that it brings to the table.
Yeah, I mean, even during a while back, it was all hands on deck. Everybody in the shop at one point was stitching lanyards. So,
I mean, we've got a running joke that we're going to threaten, that we're holding over Drake's head which lanyards he stitched, so that if he acts out, we're just going to tell people that they can order a custom lanyard stitched by Drake Levy, make them a collector's item.
Say, is there anybody in the shop that it is not allowed inside the leather room?
No, I guess not. I think everybody comes.
Okay.
Yeah, honestly, I'm trying to think. Maddie and Katie have both sewed a whole bunch of lanyards. Yeah. My trip has sewn several.
Drake and Riley
have sewn a bunch. I mean, Riley went for probably a month and a half, so 4 every day.
Drake actually punched a bunch.
Yeah. Russ has done a few. I did 30 at the beach, and that was kind of, I did a few more here and there past that, but I promised to get my batch out to hit our number for the month of June. I haven't done any since then, but I mean, literally everybody's participated, which has really been kind of cool to see, because we're currently building up inventory for the Shin Gear Stuttgart store. And, because we build everything one at a time or in a process, build it all here, it's not as easy as just cutting a PO and,
Yeah, making a phone call.
Products show up, we're having to source the material. And I mean, I don't need to talk for him, but kind of go through the process, I guess, with lanyards. There's a lot of steps in the process.
Lanyards are definitely the most in-depth process, I guess. I mean, you start with a double shoulder cut of a cow that's, as big as a desktop, and
it's kind of a bright white color, basically, when it gets here.
It's like a natural light tan. You got to square it up, then you got to cut it into strips, then groove your lines in your strips so you're going to punch your holes so your lines are straight and your holes match up. And then from there, you got to dye it in whatever color. So it goes from that light tan to, dark brown or a light brown. Then
somebody's got to sit there and punch the holes.
Somebody punches every single hole. And we just kind of have a stack in the shop where we just try to keep, a certain number in each step of the process. And as one batch gets low, we'll start doing that part of it to fill that step up. And I mean, it's pretty much ongoing. It never stops. And then it's sewn and drops are tied.
How many, if you had to guess, give us a range on how many holes are on each side of so basically to make I don't want to give too much away on your design, but the lanyard before it's sewn looks about like a belt. It's one long rectangle.
I had to guess. I can tell you some pretty close.
The punch that knocks the
119 on each, give or take a few.
So it's 120 stitches total because you roll it over and stitch it through. So,
that'd be close. 120.
Our average staff output was what, about 40 minutes per lanyard.
Yeah,
some people are faster, some people are slower. But just for rough math, by the time it's a finished lanyard, somebody's spent the better part of an hour,
And the thing is, there's really no shortcuts to them. I mean, the way we do them, they don't make a machine that can sew that lanyard. So, you can look at them and tell they're hand stitched strictly because there's honestly not a machine that'll do that stitch pattern.
Yeah. But the way the stitch is kind of hidden. So when you wear the lanyard, the stitch is sort of turned in. So it's not getting the abuse that like the outer side of the lanyard would get where your calls are. It's not rubbing on as much stuff, it's a really sturdy lanyard.
They're pretty stiff, right off the shelf, but wear it 2 or 3 times and
loosens up a lot.
They break in.
Yeah, so start to break just like
the lanyard.
Talk a little bit, Lanier, about the first lanyard. I know you still got it, you still hunt with it, but I'm going to save this for you because I want to drag it out of you. But I think one of the coolest things about what Lanier was doing and what seemed so synergistic about when I was meeting with the Lanier and we were talking in the beginning, it just felt so much like Rolling Thunder for me in the early days of I was doing all the work in a garage by myself without other people around. And I needed help. I needed to build out a team, and, I was tired and my hands hurt and, took away from so much family time. But in addition to kind of those similarities, one of the things that I heard from you and saw from you was just an originality of your design. Like you did something that other people weren't doing that contributed to the, products in the outdoor space and contributed to people's enjoyment of it. Talk a little bit about developing the lanyard and where that came from.
Well, at the time, the whole reason I did it was just I wanted to make a leather lanyard. I thought it'd be something unique. And I'd looked everywhere, and there was people doing the braided ones. They were
like paracord and leather.
Paracord and leather. I'd messed with the paracord. And actually, what I originally saw was like an old-timey rolled dog collar that, quail dogs back in the day a lot of times wore. And kind of took that, and it took a while to nail it down, but that's kind of what I based it off of. And there weren't any duck call lanyards that were being, rolled like that at the time. So that's what started it. And then, the first one I made was as big around as a duck call and weighed 5 pounds. And, over time, I still, like Spence said, I still use the same one. It's been cut and, re-sewn 3 or 4 times, but that's the one that actually got the design that I still use today.
That's awesome.
How many, in your best year, do you have an idea how many lanyards you made? Is that too much information?
Oh,
It was just you.
I know it was right around 400. That was other stuff, but just lanyards was right around 400 one year. And I would say, when I did that many, I was doing a lot of other stuff too. So I think we've already blown that number out of the water here.
So lanyards were first, like duck call lanyards were first. When did you start dabbling with, portfolios and mouth call wallets and all the other stuff?
There's probably lanyards were first, then duck straps, and then honestly, I did just that for probably a year or two, and then, one spring turkey season rolled around, and I realized that you can make more stuff out of lanyards than just duck hunting stuff. So then I started trying to come up with ideas for turkey hunting, and that's kind of when the mouth call wallet and the turkey toad started. And which was crazy at the time. I was backed up 6 months and didn't really need any more orders, but I just get bored making the same thing over and over again. So I'd come up with something new to make. And that's kind of where the turkey hunting stuff started. And then portfolios. I'd had a leather portfolio somebody gave me when I graduated high school, actually, and I'd used it forever and ever, and got to look at it one day and realized there wasn't a whole bunch to it. Didn't think it'd be too hard to make, and maybe I would improve it a little bit. So then that's where that started. And same thing with wallets. The design of the wallet that I, typically do, actually it's based off of a wallet I had that I just really liked, and it got worn out and I needed a new one. So made one of those, and pretty much are stuck pretty close to all the original designs that I came up with. They've changed a little bit, but
I think one of the things that's pretty nifty about, particularly like a wallet, like a money wallet, and the portfolio cover is that for so many of us that are, eat up with duck hunting or eat up with turkey hunting, it's, we all have a regular job and we don't all necessarily work in the hunting industry, but we love to, it gives us an extension of our passion that we can carry into kind of our day-to-day life. I know for me, I've got a belt that has a bottomland inlay that Lanier made for me, and I wear it to church every Sunday because it's kind of, it's sharp and it goes with whatever I'm wearing, but I'll wear it into a business meeting with a bank or with anywhere, non-duck hunting related, just because it's kind of an extension of something that I'm passionate about. And I thought that was such a cool, as I was getting to know Lanier and the products that he built, I thought that was such a really cool extension of really the lifestyle of the brand and the lifestyle of like what we're trying to, what we all think about ducks 365. We all think about turkeys 365 like that. Like it's something that we're so passionate about and that we think about. And then to be able to wear something or carry a portfolio cover into a meeting that, sort of an identifier, if you will. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just it's a good way to keep it with you all the time.
So it also, just from a business standpoint, I'll be honest, it has opened a lot of doors to men's boutiques and some wholesale accounts that don't necessarily want, bunch of acrylic cut downs in their store, but, have men's gift sections that, places women can buy something for somebody for Christmas and things like that. So it's been a good thing for all of us, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's helped us grow Rolling Thunder. I feel confident it's helped Lanier grow the amount of products that he's been able to push out the door.
Yeah, you walked out. They said what the total I did. I said it was 400, probably the most lanyards I ever did in a year. We
did that almost in June and July.
Yeah, that was 2 months here.
It's been interesting too, as we kind of learn about manufacturing and because we're all learning this process together, but there've been a bunch of the tools and machines and things that we use with duck calls that have doubled down and really improved efficiencies and vice versa. I mean, Lanier's been able to help us with some ways that we build calls, and I don't know. I think it's been a really good relationship for everybody.
Everything's really got a lot more similarities than I knew originally. It's all kind of tied together in one way or another.
So, on the topic of products, probably one of my favorite things, the most sharp things that we make, is the duck tote. We make a couple different varieties of it, but Chris, are you a hang them by their head or hang them by their feet kind of a guy?
I hang them by the feet. I think it's the way to do it. It feels disrespectful to hang them by the head for some reason.
I hear you. I'm a head guy. I'm a head guy. But it's funny. It's one of those things, kind of like ducks versus geese. It's one of those things people are very passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
They're quite certain that however they do it is the right way.
Hey, at the end of the day, as long as they're hanging on that tree, I'll use whoever's got a strap. We'll grab it. But
that's right. That's right. Well, kind of along those lines, one of the things you'll see this fall in the Stuttgart store is dual options, head versus feet. And I don't want to tell too much about that because we really haven't released or launched that, but there's room for both. I like that.
All righty.
And everybody has an opinion. That's another thing. It's been, I worked by myself for so long. It's been nice just to bounce ideas off of the guys in the shop and, come up with something in my head and go show it to them and say, hey, you think this is something people would buy or that you would use? Which I kind of knew that I wasn't getting that working by myself, but really, it makes a big difference. That way I'm not wasting a bunch of time making something that at the end of the day, isn't going to be used.
Yeah, and I know everybody has their preferences, likes their gear their own way. So there's a couple different versions of the call lanyards. So there's the all round, right? And then you've got the flat neck, so flat around the neck, then it goes to round, and then more of like the braided style, right? Is that the three we have right now?
Yep, that's it.
And we actually have two different ones of the one that's kind of the tight braid. We call that the simple lanyard. But we've got two different variations of that. 3-time wasn't a big favorite and big fan of it at first, but we put the call sleeve on the simple lanyard with a grommet and a clip, and it's crazy how popular those have been.
Yeah.
There's currently, as we're speaking, there's a thread on All Things Cut Down about where can I get one of these.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw it pop up today.
Yep. So
now, as far as sizing, I know everybody's a little particular. Currently, are all of the call lanyards like same size loop, same size loop, same size drops? Is there plans to do anything different there?
I mean, as far as the size of the actual lanyard, I mean, it's pretty generic. Just where it falls on majority of the people, it's going to be mid chest. But I mean, yeah, we can always change if you want them to hang lower, we can make longer drops or shorter drops either way. But really, the size of the overall lanyard, it's pretty generic. We hadn't had any problems. I at one point I offered short ones, and then I was making short ones, and people couldn't get them over their head, and they'd order a short one and say, "Well, I can't get over my head," and so I X'd that a while ago. But no, I mean, you can change the length of the drops, no problem at all. If you prefer a long lanyard or a short lanyard.
Lanier also puts it's like a brass ring basically in the leather, sewn into the leather, so that each of the drops is attached with a split ring. So you can reconfigure them or add and subtract. But the way we sell the standard waterfowl lanyard is with 3 double drops, so that you could theoretically put 3 calls on there. Some people take the 2 on the sides off and add a dog whistle or what have you like that. But and we'll be able to configure those the way people want them in Stuttgart pretty easily. We'll have plenty of extras. And like at a trade show, if you pick up a lanyard and you like the way it's stitched and find one you like, I mean, Lanier and Aaron and the guys are real quick to modify the drops the way you want them. So the drops are really kind of like tires on a pickup truck. Yeah. Some people like street slicks and some people like mud tires,
So we got, let's see, duck call lanyards, duck totes, mouth call lanyards, mouth call wallets, regular wallets. Got dog collars, right? Now are all the dog collars same size?
No, we do just a standard and then a extra large. I'll have to double check, but I think I don't want to guess.
If your dog's an extra large, you'll know it.
Yeah, if your dog's an extra large, your kid can probably wear it as a belt.
Yeah, there's your
I'll tell you a couple random off the wall things that have been popular. Lanier's probably going to kill me for saying this, but we get a lot of requests for various custom things, and Lanier can make custom orders just like we take custom duck call orders, But one of the things that we get asked about a lot is I don't even remember when it was, but you posted 2 leather straps that basically hang from your seat rest in a pickup truck for a gun, basically call it a gun sling, or I don't know what the right way to call it, but a way to safely carry a gun behind the driver and passenger seat of a truck. So think about 2 large loops. One hangs from the driver's seat, one hangs from the passenger seat, and a gun can hang suspended right there where it doesn't beat the scope up or doesn't, the barrel doesn't get bent when you step on it. And it seems like every trade show somebody is like, "Hey, I saw that on Lanier's Instagram forever ago. Y'all still make that?"
Yeah, that's killer.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing we did, just kind of the one-offs, we did embossed ostrich and embossed alligator mouthful wallet during turkey season. And I don't remember exactly how many we did, but man, those went super fast.
Yeah, they were slick.
And you had a buddy that sent you a whole alligator hide from the tannery. I mean, you're making him all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So the sky's the limit. I mean, people do dream stuff up. We've had several people last duck season that came in and got, custom duck totes that had, crazy stuff.
Had a guy bring a hat in, the cowboy hat band.
That's right. Did a cowboy? I forgot about that.
Inlay.
Yeah. And speaking of the bottomland inlay, this is just a little side note, but the way camouflage works, you can't just print camouflage and apply it to something and then sell it. All of the stuff that we sell that has mossy oak on it, we're really proud of the fact that that's officially licensed mossy oak. Every pattern that we've used, we have permission from them to use, and so it's a great relationship. They're glad for the relationship, and we're glad for the relationship. And it's not something that everybody has.
Yeah, being able to work with them is huge.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. And like I said before, it's really fun to see a woman or a wife buy something that has bottomland in it for their husband, because they know that their husband's going to carry that with them everywhere they go, whether it's a wallet in their pocket or whether it's a portfolio cover they're going to take, to their day job. I just think that that's the coolest thing about the business that we're in is, we're from the outside looking in, we're living the dream, right? We get to hunt, we get to work in the hunting industry. We probably don't get to hunt as much as most people who don't work in the hunting industry, but we get to be around it all year, 365. And so to build stuff that people can basically turn their 60-day hobby into a year-round expression of that hobby is really cool to me. It's the same way with collectible duck calls, and I just think it's neat because you can't go duck hunting in the month of June in the United States, but you can buy a duck call or you can buy a duck tote. You can buy gear that you can use in your everyday life, like a wallet or a portfolio cover that really keeps your mind there in the shallow water and flooded trees. I'm trying to think of what else we should ask Lanier. He's got a great personality when he's not on camera and not in an interview setting
on the camera. I had to film my interview twice.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And the first one wasn't even because it was bad. We just decided to change it. So I had to do it all again, which I was thrilled about.
What are we missing, Chris? What else do we need to cover? What do you think?
Well, I say we don't want to steal any thunder from the video coming out, so everybody needs to stay tuned. When does that go live?
Be Friday morning. So that's August the 16th. Yeah, Friday morning the 16th. Right. So, man, I would just say, I hope a lot of people watch it, but I also would love to hear from some of our customers and fans. Like, man, if you're listening to the podcast or you watch that video and you got an idea for something, hit us up and let your imagination run wild, and let's build something for you.
Yeah, and I mean,
it's fun for everybody.
Another cool part of being, here in the shop every day is people can come in, got an idea. I mean, we can get, if you can brainstorm something, think something up, we can, come up with an idea sitting right there with you and work on it. So definitely anytime anybody's at the shop or, has a chance to stop by, swing in and say, hey, let us know what your ideas are.
Some of the other randoms that have been really popular that we hadn't talked about are keychains. Good Lord, y'all sold a blue million keychains, chapstick holders, and we've got a whole fleet of little leather patches that people are sewing on their vests and things like that. So
Aaron said if anybody wants to bring something up here, he'll sew the patch up.
Oh, heck yeah.
We do have a really good sewing machine. And man, if you really are curious, you can ask Lanier and he'll show you the old sewing machine. It was a hand crank.
Yeah, from China that I had to like.
You sewed a bunch of stuff with it.
Yeah, I used it for years. It took me about a year to figure out how to use it. But yeah, we've stepped our game up on the sewing machine. For sure.
Guess that's kind of all I have. Do you have anything else, Chris? Can you think of anything we're not on there?
Man, I think we covered all the leather stuff. So if folks want something custom, they just need to call the shop. You want to give out Lanier's cell phone number?
No, don't give my cell phone number.
You can definitely call the shop, or really just send Libby an email, and she'll line up a time to walk you through it. But her email address is info@rollingthundergamecalls.com. Most of the leather stuff we've talked about is on the website and is in stock. We've tried really hard to kind of keep things in stock, and you'll start to see it this fall in a number of our dealers, especially across the Southeast. And then we've got a handful of Shin Gear exclusive items that are coming to the Stuttgart store. we're pumped about that. That's what we've been, honestly, that's one of the reasons you haven't heard us talk about leather more than we have, is that we're trying to kind of get ahead of what we think the demand there is going to be. And I don't know if we've done it or not. We've still got a long way to go.
For anybody not in the loop, when does the Stuttgart store open? What's the tentative plan at this point?
November the 9th is the current date that we've been told. And it will be, no pun intended, or pun intended, it will be a colossal shindig. Mm-hmm. I know that 98% of the people listening will not have duck hunting plans the weekend of November the 9th. But I do think early spec will be open, and I do know that there's going to be a bunch of in-store exclusive items in Stuttgart. I'm hearing that a lot of the hotels are already sold out. So, if you're listening to the podcast, this is your reminder to send your old lady a text message and tell her that you've got serious preseason camp work that's got to be done the weekend of November the 9th. You're going to want to be over there for the grand opening on Saturday morning, November the 9th. I would say music, old Bart's food truck's going to be there, cold beer, lots of duck calls, lots of leather. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be one heck of a good time.
Yeah, I would say so. So I guess, you're talking about, you said it's almost been a year. I guess Film Festival will be a year.
Yeah.
The Film Festival in October last year was the first function that Lanier made 12 lanyards and showed up with them.
Yeah, and that was the last week in October. First day was November 1st.
Yeah. Yeah, so we are coming up on a year. Oh, Chris, what do you think your favorite, what do you have that's leather that you really like, whether it's something that we've made or somebody else has made?
I say my current call lanyard is not one that Lanier made, but that's probably my favorite piece that just of leather gear that I have. I've been toting it for a few years. I know it's fun to see him break in, and there's something special about leather.
There is something special about leather.
It makes me feel more grown up for some reason. But every time you look at it, it's real easy to go back and think about the places you've worn it and stuff you've done with it. So
yeah, leather does kind of have a life of its own. It just carries so much with it, whether smells and stains and oil and color. Right. I mean, it's neat.
Yeah.
So
now, Lanier, do you have any leather care recommendations for folks that may be getting leather for the first time?
Any kind of oil or conditioner. After the first couple of years, once it's broke in good, it's got that oil built into it, it's fine. But first couple of years, any off the shelf oil or conditioner works. If you don't have any, honestly, extra virgin olive oil works just as good. Might smell funny, but it works really good.
I would strongly suggest, if you have interest in the leather stuff and the story, you should come to the shop and see what Lanier and Aaron are doing in there. And it's been so fun for me because it smells good. The shop is kind of like a fraternity house anyways. And you just never know what you're going to actually get a whiff of around here with 12, grown dudes here. And Lanier's shop smells so good. It smells like leather and whatever that yellow wax that they rub into leather. It like you said, it feels grown up.
Mm-hmm. Well, anything else coming down the pipe folks need to be paying attention to?
We got some ideas. I don't know if we want to spill the beans on everything yet, but we got some stuff coming that's definitely new.
News always good.
And we'd love to have some help, man. Seriously, like some of the ideas that we've come up with have been modified a few times by customers and folks here. So give us some input. for sure.
Definitely.
Heck yeah. I need to snag a dog collar next time I'm up that way.
We can do it.
Well, good. All right. Well, Chris, it's about that time when everybody starts heading to the exit door. So I better get out here and make sure I get the last few minutes out of everybody's time.
Mm-hmm. Catch them before they disappear.
Until 5. Do what?
I said catch them before they disappear.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Well, fellas.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap it up for the day. Good to talk to you, pal.
Good to talk to you, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to seeing this film come out on Friday.
Sounds good.
All right. To all our listeners out there, we'll catch you on the next one.
All right.
Nice.
Buddy.
See ya.